Yes, Bikini Bottom. The inventory is a critical part in a video game's enjoyment, and it's often overlooked unless it proves annoying. This instantly recognizable feature in many of the popular games you play with your fingers and hands and blood and bones has changed throughout time. To fully understand the many iterations and mutations this system has gone through, we have to go back to 1975. Also, a 10-second interjection here. I put all my sources and where I got this information in a document in the description. There wasn't a drop of research on this competitive wave of innovation over the past 50 years, so strap in. We are going balls deep, everyone. Grab a Nature Valley bar and keep a vacuum close. We're hitting a steezy burial, real ones know, to 20 years after going back to the future to 1975. I am simply going to define the inventory as a status of the equipment or tools on player. Released in Japan September 1975, in the US November 1975, a game by the name of Gunfight showed bullets on the screen. And this was the very first game that I could find with an inventory in it. So, very simple, on screen, you can see how many bullets you have to plenish, right? That's it. It was made by Tomohiro Nishikado, and little fun fact for here, little fun fact was, it was the first video game to depict human-to-human combat. So, there you go. And I definitely knew that off the top of my head and didn't read it off of Wikipedia. This spin-off of Sega's tabletop-type gun game was actually sold a lot, right? This was a widely renowned game during its time. I'll show some of the sales on screen, but it had a good run, had a decent run. And maybe we can attribute that to all the other games that I'm going to show on the screen here, all the other first games that were made. They just had score, maybe 1 or 2 players, like that's it. So we're starting extremely bare-boned, and as the naked marrow, now exposed, is chilled by the wind, we can start to piece together the story of how the modern inventory came to be. You know, after studying hundreds of games that have come out over the past half a century, I've actually gained a newfound respect for video games just in general. I'm a younger guy, so I won't bullshit you like I know what it was like to grow up during this exciting time to be alive, but I think it is awesome looking back into why video games have turned out the way they are today. So, at the risk of sounding pretentious, I have concluded there are 2 immeasurable leaps within the realm of inventory development. Pac-Man revolutionized gaming for its lighthearted charm and competitive spirit, alike with Tetris. GoldenEye brought the first first-person shooter. Street Fighter II did fighting right. Final Fantasy kept Sony alive. Halo took FPS to a different level. Metroid comes with the first female protagonist. GTA open world. WoW extreme complexity, and Minecraft empowering the player. All undoubtedly influential games, but what if I told you all of them would pale in comparison to one game? Whoa! Bog 3, baby, let's go! That's what's up. Look at him go and bonk. Come on, look at this guy. No, I'm kidding. I'm consensually yanking your chain, pulling your putt, however you want to put it. Rather than exhausting this whole history thing and going through the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, I'm just gonna go to a few key moments that have directly impacted inventories today. The first one, starting on February 21st, 1980. Nobody cares about the dates. So, a long time ago, The Legend of Zelda comes out on the NES. It was the first to have a pause inventory screen, and also simultaneously popularized it because this was a big game. Not to mention, it was also the first to have a minimap and the ability to save your progress in a game. And there were many text-based inventories which predated this, right? I'll show a bunch of them on screen of just typical games, Zork-ish games. Zork came out in 1977, which was literally just a text simulator. Still a video game, nonetheless. But 7 years later, a video game called Secret of Mana came out. This game was played on the SNES and was directed by Koichi Ichi. And Koichi Ichi, guy gets up, he's like, "Yo, Miyamoto, you're a bitch. The little pause system you got going on, bro? Oh, dude, I'm not a pussy, that's gay, dude. I invented the item wheel, man." And so Koichi Ichi, he's feeling himself now. He's standing tall, right? He thinks this Mana series is going somewhere, but The streets know you don't fuck with Miyamoto. Moment Miyamoto sees this, starts working his ass off. He's grinding, he's in the lab, he's in the dojo, bro. Several years later, Ocarina of Time drops. Oh, what's that? You sold 2 mil copies with your cute little item wheel? Well, guess what? How's 7 million? And you know, why not hit him with the 1-2? Hit him with the double whammy. 2 years later, Majora's Mask. Pop that 3 million. Miyamoto crushes this poor, arrogant soul. The result of this is Miyamoto forcing Ichi to work on Miyamoto's own projects that he beat him with, right? 3D Majora's Mask and 3D Ocarina of Time, which is just salt to the wound. That's unnecessary. However, this competitive inventory spark has led to the innovation of constantly new ideas being thrown at the board and has pioneered us to the modern era. Because let me tell you, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time were extremely full games that relied heavily on their inventories. Whether they were good or not, it doesn't matter because the game was so influential and inspired so many that it set a standard. And I'll be the first to admit, I played these games growing up, so I have a little bit of nostalgia bias. However, these are widely renowned as some of the best games ever made. And to be fair, to be completely fair, the inventories, I've heard many complaints of only being able to hold 3 items at a time on the screen, and then you have to go equip something else. So the people in 2000, now, knowing that a game can have a flawed inventory and still be as legendary as these, where do we go from here? Let the competition start. How perfect, how great can a game be? The game with an inventory that I think is as close to perfection as a game has gotten so far is... And when he gets the meat, he's invincible. Okay, I'm done with the bonk 3. Anyways, as we move on into the modern era of inventories, video game inventories, you and I both know that most games, it doesn't really matter, right? Not a lot of people care about it. It's minuscule. However, in Minecraft, it is somewhat of a centerpiece of the game, and I think that's beautiful. And if you found this video, I think it's safe to presume you know about Minecraft, and if you haven't exactly played it yourself, you know at least you have an inventory and you build things, and the inventories, it's very clean, you know. It's some quick things like logistically why I like it. I think it's a good size for the game. I think they coded a lot of nice little shortcuts to where it's not inconvenient. I find it cool that it influences so heavily how you play the game. Other than that, which has been a humongous video game over the past 10 years, decade and a half, the Xbox One, PS4, now PS5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, just all new games in general over the past decade and a half, and on Steam, wherever you play it on your computer, if that's where you played it. Those kind of games, I didn't have to do as much research on because I've been alive for those and I've played those ones. And so I feel comfortable in this general sentiment of, I feel like you're supposed to forget the inventories. Like, it's meant to not interrupt the gameplay, so to build retention and make you play for as long as possible. And I mean, it definitely has its ups and downs, but I feel like the design part of it is more of trying to make it invisible and more opaque. And if the old school inventory you think of in classic games is going extinct, well, that begs the question, why do they matter? Why are they considered a piece of a game still? And is the new image of the perfect inventory what a game developer strives for? Is a game supposed to seemingly not have an inventory as the ideal inventory? Before my final thoughts on the video game inventory, I want to show you some things I feel obligated to show you because I just stumbled upon them in this wild ride when I was researching it. Ride may be an intended pun, just check this out, short intermission. Exhibit A.
Mr. Arcade, I need help. My husband won't come home.
Pac-Man, I can help.
Get him, Pac-Man!
Stand back. This is the official tabletop version of Midway's Pac-Man.
It looks the same.
And it plays the same.
Oh my god, I love it. This guy's facial expressions are just insane. And apparently this Mr. Arcade, like, he's a guy. There's multiple commercials like this back then. It's glorious, and I had to share them. Also, I like to think this is just like a common problem, like the way he seems, oh, Pac-Man, alright, Another one of these, another one of the days. Last thing, Exhibit 2 is absolute insanity. What the fuck am I watching right now? I was just searching for... Oh my god, dude. There's another one! Excuse me? I was searching for Atari footage because I was gonna talk about, oh, this is an old console. This is a live reaction here. I'm just trying to record footage on OBS. What? What the fuck is... Okay, I see. So the objective of the game is to get as many pumps in before the background explodes. Interesting that they chose that to be the end of each session. I'm not sure if this is appropriate, being called Custard's Revenge, and he's going up to a potentially unconsenting Indian woman, but this one was wild. Anyways, let's get this show back on the road. You want me to wrap up video game inventories, like, as a whole? The whole thing? I don't know, it's hard because after looking through all the older games, I feel like they used to have a lot more charm, and inventories in specific, it didn't matter that it wasn't perfect. A game's flaws made them funny, you know, or gave it some character. Kind of seems like now, like I said, with all the newest games and AAA games and stuff, is just getting phased out. But don't get me wrong, like, I know games can be good without an inventory, obviously. Kind of makes you wonder what's the point of designing it if the perfect version of it is futile. Just like this video, you know, it's very minute, contributes nothing to its existence. But maybe if you are going to take something away from this video, go away with the sentiment that you can enjoy the little things, you know, those little sound bites in the Ocarina of Time menu, or just in your daily life. So, cliche, I know, but it's true. No punchline to this one, guys. Have a good one. Touch some grass. Call your mom. Peace.